See, I was going to finish this off by asking both of you, who is on your Mount Rushmore of stand-up comedians?
No.
Really?
I thought that would be easier. Apparently
There's
not.
so many.
You both
There's
love
so
stand-up comics, but
many.
you can't name four that you really like.
I can name four I really like, but I just couldn't narrow it down to the four.
I'm not going to hold you to task on it. You'll get to change it at a later date. This isn't etched in stone. Pun intended. Welcome to episode 15 of Keeping on Track. I'm Bradley Williams.
And I'm Adam Heath.
And I am super excited to jump into three topics of interest today, Adam, if you'll permit me, because you last week had a little list, and I've got three things that I wanted to talk to you about in a specific order. But if before I do that, is there anything that you want to say to me, tell me about your weekend, have on your mind, to share with our widening audience? Want to
try that again?
Yeah. Is there anything you want to share? Put my teeth in. Is there anything you want to
do? It in AI. We'll do it in AI afterwards. You can just correct what you didn't say very well.
Here we go. I'll insert the AI here. Is there anything you wish to discuss, Adam?
No, I'm good. No. Do you know what we should do, though? I've just realised you jumped straight in. We said, hi, I'm Brad, I'm Adam. Here's three things I want to talk about. We didn't just say hello. We should always just pause to say hello and welcome to our podcast.
Hello.
A podcast, and I was thinking about this last season. Or at least I tried to adopt a little bit of a one-liner. This is the podcast where we talk about, and then made some, and I've sort of forgotten what we said. All things business, learning, wrapped in the comfort embrace of film, something like that. I don't know what it is.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought this was the Elephant's Graveyards of Ideas.
Is that what this podcast is?
I thought that's what this was. This is where hopes and dreams go to die.
It's fairly cynical, I'll be honest. We're quite cynical enough, so we don't really need to
okay, so let's try this. So, welcome to Keeping on Track, the podcast where we use popular culture to decipher and gain a deeper understanding of learning and development. Does that work?
There you go. Yeah, that's nice. I like it.
It's not really very catchy, though, is it? It's not.
We can work on that.
We'll work on it.
Hey, I also just want to ask you very, very briefly. This doesn't matter at all, and then I promise we can get to your three things.
Yeah.
I've been calling this season 2, but I noticed that you haven't. You've just been saying episode 14, 15, etc. Is it officially a second season, or is it just sort of one continual season?
Technically, it's a second season.
I just didn't want to misrepresent us when I'm going around telling people, season 2, episode 3, or episode 15, if you're thinking count from season 1. I don't know. We've derailed you. You've got three things you wanted to bring up.
And I get through them really quickly. Right.
Go on, yeah.
So, first things first, I went to see Civil War at the weekend, the Alex Garland movie, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I think that you will really, really, really enjoy it. And there are a number of reasons, but the primary reason being is it is a love letter to journalism, predominantly photojournalism. And I walked away from that movie. The first thing I wanted to do was pick up a camera and go and take pictures and things. I was like, that movie made me fall in love with the art of photography all over again.
Wow.
It was, it's an amazing film. And I've been reading a lot of quite interesting hang-ups that people have had about the movie in terms of, it's not really a civil war because you don't know anything about the war, or it's confusing as to which states are aligned with which. And I think it was like a huge oversight from anyone that thinks that way about the movie, because it's not technically the point of the film. It's much more about the journalistic process. And to get poncy for a minute, I actually think that the title Civil War is in reference to ethics and morals, and this idea that within ourselves, or within in the mind and heart of a journalist, there is constantly a civil war in terms of what your moral code says to you is something you shouldn't be doing, i.e. taking a picture of an event or an activity that is reprehensible or wicked, but also that ethical piece around, but the reason you're taking the photo is to give other people the opportunity to use that as a consideration for their own actions and behaviors. So you're almost becoming a conduit, but you have to put aside your own moral complications and things like that. So the civil war is technically an internal civil war and an existential one rather than an external one. So anyway, I thought it was a really, really good film. So you should watch it. You should actually venture to the cinema and see it.
I don't know if I can talk about this. I've been debating. Can I give this example? Should I give it? We might have to edit this out of the podcast when I think about it, Brad. But you've just made me reflect and think about the documentary project I've been working on for sort of 6 months with a band, a friend of mine's band across America. And having that moment of severe drama within the band, you know, like breaking point, personal crisis, and how do I want to phrase it? Deep character assassination having to happen within the band, and making that decision. Do I film this? Do I film the frankly crushing of a human being, emotionally, spiritually, you know, literally is role in the band? Do I film that, or do I walk away and just leave that moment to happen? And I sort of made the decision that I had to film it because the group, the collective wanted me there. They took me, you know, we traveled across America together for a month to tell their story. This is part of their story. And I had to make the piece I made with myself was hopefully the band survives and sustains, and in 20 years time we're reflecting on an amazing career, and we've got this incredible piece of video of when it nearly blew up, when we had an incredibly delicate moment, and some difficult conversations happened, and there it is on camera. So just a difficult personal decision to film something that was potentially one of the worst moments of a human being's life, and I'm there putting it on camera thinking I feel like I have to. And then we'll ask the question after whether we should have done and what to do with it. But
it's a very difficult one, isn't it? And you know, we've been in other situations before where we've felt like, are we, you know, if we're interviewing somebody about a potentially sensitive subject, is that exploitative or not? But I think ultimately, if that person knows in that situation, they know they're being filmed, they know this is part of a documentary, they've agreed to be in that situation. I think as long as you're presenting it without, if you're presenting it dispassionately, you're just presenting truth and fact, I think that's okay. I mean, obviously, there's a much deeper conversation to be had around a lot of those things.
I've always wondered, this is another thing we might have to cut because it's way too dark, but just those philosophical conversations that I reckon we possibly had at 16 years old, 17 years old, whatever it was at college. Because I distinctly remember within a few days of us starting college, September 11th happened, right?
Yeah, we watched it. I
remember.
We were at college watching it on telly when it happened,
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just think about it from time to time, that kind of philosophical question as a filmmaker. If I were somewhere and something substantial happened, you know, seismic, historical event, would I run away or sort of turn the camera on and try and start documenting? Well, that is a more somber opening than we're used to on this podcast. I'm hoping
I've got a way to 180 on that.
You've got two more. He's got 2 lives, 2 more. Go for it. What's number 2?
Point 2 is a complete 180. So my daughter, Maren, 4 years old, she likes to casually watch a little bit of kids YouTube. And yesterday she was laughing, and I thought, what's she watching? And her laugh was getting more and more and more chaotic. And I just thought, what is she watching? So she turned around her iPad and showed me a video, and it was it was the Guinness World Record for the longest gurn.
Well, if we do need to edit something out of this podcast because we go a bit long, we know what can go straight away. Hey, listen, you promised me 3 quick things. That's what you said. 3 quick things, and we've not got to number 3 yet. So
last one, and this is a quick one because this will lead us into our conversation. Or at least give our guest an opportunity to comment on it. So Rebecca Ferguson was in the press recently on when she was doing the press for June 2, part 2, and had mentioned that somebody in her history on set had behaved in a way that she'd felt quite demeaning. They'd screamed and shouted at her on set, and she'd stood up for herself. And that had become a big thing of who was this person, who had been involved in this incident. And then she was quite quick to say it wasn't Tom Cruise, it wasn't Hugh Jackman. I think The Rock got involved and the kind of vicariously made sure everyone knew it wasn't him. Emily Blunt, I think, had also been commented on it. I wasn't her. it was either like yesterday or this morning, she came out and said, in response to that, she'd had some people that she knows are good people, nice people, who have phoned her up and said, "Do you know what you've done? Like this is pretty out of order what you've done." And her response to that, which I thought was awesome, is essentially saying, "Well, look, I understand what you're saying, but if you're a nice person, you don't have anything to worry about." Yeah, I don't know if you'd followed any of that story, Ed, if you know anything about this, or if this is new information to you.
It's new information, and it comes hot off the heels of your information about Millie Bobby Brown, whenever it was, last week or the week before. There seems to be a trend emerging of the kind of news you're looking at. I've been looking at sort of Iran and Israel and world affairs, but you're very much celebrity gossip. So no, I hadn't seen it.
Fair enough. You worry about what's going on in the world. I worry about what's going on with humankind. Why don't we bring our guest in? Because I'm sure she's got some thoughts on this. And we really appreciate her being here today. So Becky Vint is a project manager at On Track. She's been here for a very long time. She's had a lot of impact in the organisation. And she is here today to first talk to us about Rebecca Ferguson. And we'd love to hear her thoughts on it.
She's provided a mystery of actually who that person is. So then everybody then, because like we talk about it at On Track quite a lot, is your intention, how you come across might not be how other people perceive it. So sometimes I'm going to come across as assertive, but some people might interpret that as being aggressive. I'm going to come across as I'm a bit peeved off about something, and someone go, "You're angry at me? What have I done?" So you don't sometimes know what's going on deeper down. So yeah, I'll be interested, because if she's protecting it, she's actually making something a mountain out of a molehill. Why didn't you just deal with it there and then with the
I think that's the point, is that she did deal with it there and then, but felt under pressure and felt like she was on the back foot because she spoke up and was told, "Well, you can't say that because that person's number one on the call sheet." So she was speaking out more of a sort of a cultural piece to say, "I've been in situations where people have acted in an unfavourable manner." So I think the idea was that someone screamed and shouted and said, "Get off my set," or something like that. And then so she spoke up at the time and didn't get the backup or the apology that she needed.
I see what you're saying. So
she's saying, she's kind of speaking, and it wasn't unprovoked. Someone had asked her a question that she'd responded to with this story. So it wasn't something she just found the opportunity to talk about. But subsequently, that hushness of, but we protect each other. We're actors. We have bad days, and yeah, okay, there's a difference between having bad days. Adam and I have been on sets with people who've had bad days. We've had bad days, but there's a difference between having a bad day and being a bully. So it's quite interesting that she's received flack for that, because ultimately she hasn't said the person's name. So yes, okay, there's a bit of a mystery, but that's irrelevant to the point that she's getting at. So yeah.
Now that you've given, I think now that you've given me a bit more behind the scenes, I think it's not. It's if you're gonna speak up and call people out on their behaviour, I think that's quite right. If you do it in a way that says, like, "I'm really not happy with the way that you spoke about that," I that kind of shook me. If you're saying it in a way that is professional and calm and just calling someone out, that's okay, and actually you're right, and other people then surrounding that person to go, "You shouldn't do that, this isn't how," you go, well, by me, I should be able to call someone's bad behavior out to them. I should be able to say, "I didn't like that."
It's like later on, Adam's going to apologise for trying to out me as a politically ignorant individual when he knows that the complete opposite is true. But we'll see whether an apology. There you go. We've had it live. We've had it. Anyway, we've had enough of the intro piece. Let's get down to the topics at hand. So, Becky, what is the topic that you've picked for us today?
Empowering voices. I think that's what kind of gets to the crux of me is, and that's probably my deep-rooted, like, I just want to be empowered by everybody. So I think maybe, if I'm doing it to others, then that's a good start, really. But yeah,
no, good topic.
If I'm wrong.
Did you know, like, already that the films you were thinking about and there was kind of a theme of empowering voices, or was that on reflection you started to spot the connection? Yeah.
On reflection, I literally just went, right, so Brad, here's some things that I really love. Do. And I went, and then recent TV programs that I've started, I thought, there's a lot of me as a woman. I am a woman. I have two daughters, and it's all about empowering their voice and their inner voice. And sometimes I think that they're not. My youngest is certainly, she is not afraid to speak her mind, but my eldest is far more aware of how she's coming across. She's a very bit of an empath, so she really concerns herself with how other people are coming across. And I think sometimes I I kind of want her to empower herself. I think this last month has been a bit of a difficult one personally in terms of my family. And I think I wasn't really going to bring it up, but the crux of it basically is, how do I get my daughter's inner voice for her to be comfortable with who she is as a person? So that's basically it, really. It's being able to feel that you have a seat at the table and you're there and you're invited, and it's okay, and it doesn't matter if you're not. You're here on this planet, so live it a little bit. That's me.
There you go. That's the end of the podcast. We're done.
Bye.
No, that's great. And what movie have you landed on for this one?
Well, so this one was for me. Growing up, I think we had it on VHS, so we had it on video, and it was Little Women, but it's the Winona Ryder one. It's a 1994 version, and I think it's because it was probably that or Roxette. This is my music taste. When I was like very young, had a Roxette on VHS that we taped with all the stickers. You put it in and all the stickers get stuck. But yeah, Little Women. And a reason is because actually it's a really good cast. It has Kirsten Dunst from Civil War in it. It has Winona Ryder. It has Susan Sarandon in it. There's so many different people. Christian Bale, who plays Laurie. So there's so many characters in there that I absolutely love, and it's for each of their individuality. Every part of the people, and I read the book many years ago, but the March Family. But watching the film, I absolutely love the film because it's just like, it feels like a warm hug.
Fantastic. Well, while we're busy empowering voices and are making you realise that you definitely have a place, rather than me give an overview of the film this week, would you like to do it, Becky?
Oh, yeah. So it's based during the Civil War. It's a family of 4 girls. They've all got their own individual characters, and you have a powerhouse of a mum. The father is away at war. And so it's left to the March family. It's the March family, and they aren't they're, I would say, middle class. So they're not like rich, but they're not poor. And they all embrace one another. And they're 4 sisters who absolutely fight with one another, love one another, but ultimately they're all connected. And their mum is such a matriarch. She is such a strong person. And they're there for the people in the community, and they befriend Laurie, who is the rich boy next door in the big house. So you've got Meg, who's the oldest, you've got Joe, you have Beth, and then you have Amy. Amy's the youngest, and I look at all of them and I think I probably would get a bit annoyed by Amy. I'd probably go to Beth. Beth, I probably look at as being your eldest daughter's kind of personality, as someone to just sit and talk to. Joe is like, we're going to do this. And Meg is like, I have to set the standard for how my life has been. I have to marry. I have to have a family. Is that right? Does that work, guys?
Yep, that's great. That'll do. Good stuff. So we always ask this question when we talk about any movie. Adam, have you ever seen Little Women?
I feel like I've been stitched up a little bit.
Right?
Why? Because for the first time ever, I was so excited. I've seen Little Women. I'm on this. I'm killing it this week. I've seen it. And then Becky says, oh, no, not the Greta Gerwig version. I'm talking about the 1994. And I haven't seen it. I was so close.
Same principle. It's literally the same principle.
Okay, all right, fine.
Yeah, you're not going to be far off.
Of half seen
it. I think that there are about 6 or 7 adaptations of the book in total between film and TV. 1994 version is often considered to be the pinnacle, the best version. For that, like you mentioned, Becky, it's like a warm hug. It's quintessential Christmas viewing for a lot of people, and I think
the 94 one.
Yeah, the 94 one, and I think also a lot of Americans. I'm speaking in generalities here, but I think a lot of Americans see this as the perception of their of themselves at that period of time. It's like a really nostalgic version of America at the turn of the 19th century. So I think there's that. There's also worth looking up is the 1933 version with Catherine Hepburn. And have you seen that one as well, Becky?
Probably,
Yeah,
yes.
that's where like she is the best Joe. That's if you like, if Joe's your favorite, that's the best Joe. She always runs around going Christopher Columbus. That's her little sort of mini swear words that she shares with everyone. And then there's some TV shows and things like that. But obviously the Greta Gerwig version is one that is possibly, could we argue, the more popular version now because of its Oscar run and things like that. So.
And I get that. And it's the most, but I think for me, growing up, how old was I? I was about 11 or 12. And the mum is such a matriarch in that she'll just go, right, you have to, but the way they are when they're kids is that she allows them independence, but it's okay to make mistakes, and I think that's such a, I don't know, I always felt it was quite modern in the way these women were as a book. I think, that's really nice. You still got the men, you still have the men in their life, but these were the women that were just left to it. They just had to crack on,
Well, there's that great scene, isn't there, when John Brooke, who is Laurie's teacher, Laurie and I think three of the girls, and they are girls at this point, because I think that's the point of Little Women, is it's a coming of age story, and it is that transitional period where you go from being a girl to a woman. But Laurie and a couple of the girls, or three of the girls, are playing in the snow, and he's kind of like dragging them through the snow on a sled, and they're throwing snowballs at each other. And he says, I can't remember the exact words, but to an extent of John Brooke says, your girls are very spirited, or something along those lines. And then Mrs. March goes into that huge sort of, it's not a tirade, she just kind of talks him down in a very friendly way, but she sort of says, oh yes, well the idea of the fainting woman comes very much from young women who are stuck indoors and they're not allowed to partake of society, and they have to essentially live and die by the rising and the setting of the sun and all these different things. And his face, he just looks like someone who's been completely stripped of any sense of moral right, and he's kind of just had it put into his face of, what do you want from these women? And then he says, I think it's another point where he says the activities in the minds of the woman are best left behind the veil of obscurity, or something like that. And it's this real sort of, he presents a lot of the ideologies of
what a woman should be presented as at the time. Yeah.
But she's great. I mean, Mrs. March is just a tour de force every time she gets in, especially in that version.
Yeah, but then I like Susan Sarandon, and I think that's why I like Kirsten Dunst, and I love Winona Ryder, and I like all of those actors as well. I think we're very telling of the time, So anyway, so that's why I used to watch it quite a lot. Little Women. I always cried, spoiler alert, when Beth dies. Always. And I always cry at the very end when Joe and, oh my gosh, who's her beau at the very end?
Frederick Bear.
Yes, when she runs out to him, because she's basically writes the book. So Joe writes the book of Little Women, and that's the whole point of it. And he says, I've had it published, basically, and she's like, and then they start, and it's the next chapter. So it's not The Labyrinth, it's not Speed, and it's not Top Gun or whatever Jackie was into. So it's none of that, but it's a warm hug. So that's for me. But yeah.
Do you know what I find interesting, Brad? And I don't know if this is as meaningful as I think it is, but it surprised me. I'm looking at a little bit of the history of the film. Produced by Denise Denovi, screenplay by Robin Swicord, I'm not terribly sure the pronunciation, and directed by Gillian Armstrong. All three women, which is pretty unusual, even in today's world, I would say. I mean, we're getting better, don't get me wrong, but in 94 in particular, produced, written and directed by three different women feels to me really unusual. Maybe it's happened before, but I don't know, it just jumped out at me as unusual to have that much female energy behind a project. And it's a great thing, don't get me wrong. It's just really interesting to look at, I guess departure from how films probably were made prior to that point? I don't know. You might know more about the kind of history of this stuff than me. But
I know that at this period of her life, Winona Ryder was quite she was a bankable star, and
Yeah.
she'd done quite a few
Edward
film.
Scissorhands, things like
Yeah, this
that.
is where she did every year. I think it was like 3 or 4 years in a row. She did a period drama that was just outstanding. So she had she did, well, I say outstanding. This one's debatable because some people don't like it, but she did Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman and Keanu Reeves. The next year she did Age of Innocence with Michelle Pfeiffer and Daniel
Oh
Day-Lewis. Then
yeah.
she did Little Women the year after, and then a year or so after that, she then did The Crucible with Daniel Day-Lewis again. So she kind of just got these four movies that are just bang, bang, bang. All of them are just absolutely, just unreal. And I don't, obviously, that doesn't necessarily relate to why this was a female-led production here, but I think it's probably going to have something to do with Winona Ryder at this point, and probably whether she had some involvement in picking the director. I don't know.
all right, so you're seeing her influence potentially is wanting to bring in
Potentially,
certain people. Yeah, maybe,
yeah.
maybe. It's no bad thing. It's a great thing, and
Mm,
seems appropriate for the material probably as well.
Yeah, I also like the fact that even though it obviously is very predominantly female, the men in this, they're good men.
mm,
And I love the fact that all the men are equal to their female
mm,
counterparts, which I think
mm,
is so important.
mm,
And I see that it's almost like the March family have this magic touch on the men that come into their lives,
mm,
especially Laurie, because he loses his way during the sort of like the middle years where he loses touch with Joe and he's going off and he goes to Europe to try to figure out what he wants to do with his life. And then he meets Amy. And in that time frame, he has massively lost his way, and having Amy back kind of brings back that nostalgia, but it moves him into a different direction. It kind of brings him back into where his focus needs to be a little bit again.
mm,
And I would want my kids to feel that there's no judgment. And I know that they can come to me and we will fight, we will shout, we will scream at one another. But I know that we've always got each other. We've always got each other's back no matter what. It doesn't matter. And yes, I might tell you off. I'll tell you what I would do that I probably never had when I was growing up is, I'm sorry, kid, I made a boo-boo there. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
I will always say sorry to my kids. I would never say, I'm the mum. I never say
mm.
sorry. I would always
Yeah,
say sorry. So yeah.
yeah. And I think obviously one of the things that we could tie that to, if we wanted to quickly veer into the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
corporate world, is that's management. Right? They have this as a
Yeah,
management style is to view it
absolutely.
in that way. But just to go back to one of the things you said about this idea of the level playing field for all,
Mm,
is there's a scene that obviously there's two kind of mirror pieces there. You have the Pickwick Society, which is
yeah,
where the girls all meet together and they play at being men and they're smoking on their pipes and
yeah,
you're here and Joe
yeah.
leads a lot of the Pickwick Society. And then
Mm-hmm.
later on, when she's living in the boarding house in New York, her and Frederick are sat there in a group with a group of men, and the men are all discussing the rights of women and
Mm,
and minorities and all this. And she's just sat there and she tries to say something a few times, and it's like she's gone from leading the conversation of the men in the Pickwick Society to being on the periphery, and then Frederick just kind of gently says, "You wanted to say something, Joe," and kind of uses
mm,
his position in that conversation to
mm.
introduce her and give her
Yeah, to
that
bring her
thing,
in.
and then she comes out with that amazing kind of revolutionary statement of women shouldn't vote by the virtue of being wonderful just because they're a woman, the same as men are not ogres just because they're men. It's because they're human beings. That's why they should have a chance to vote. And she kind of eliminates gender from the discussion and makes it
Mm.
more about the human condition and things like that. And there's a few times throughout the movie where that becomes very central to the mentality of the March family is everybody is somebody, everybody has a place, everyone has a
Everybody's got its
voice.
place, exactly. And
Yeah.
I think that's how I feel in work, is that's how I want to be, is that I have a seat at the table. So my style when I work with everybody is always about collaboration.
Hmm.
I I think I've had conversations with you, Brad, and I will always ask for your opinion on something. How would you do it? And I'll be open and transparent. I'm not sure, Brad, I'm really unsure about how you would work on this. What would you do? And it's not about and sometimes people will say that I'm too transparent, I'm too vulnerable, or things like that. But by me being myself, and it almost makes everybody, it doesn't always work that way. In an actual fact, it probably won't work in a lot of places. But I like to say, to present myself as being a vulnerable person, because that's just who I am. I know I can be too vulnerable, but this is me. This is what I bring to the table. If you want this, this is what you're going to get. So when I'm managing a project, I will ask people, right, what are your thoughts? Do you know what I mean? Everybody's got their own methods about how to do something. And then I've got to unpick it and think, what's the best way that I would do? But I've at least taken everybody's opinions. And that's what I love. I want that. That's my voice, is how do I bring everybody? You are involved. You have a part to play in this project. This is your role. This is your role. And you bring to the table your insight. We're all equal here. You know, my part is just to get the job done. Your part is to bring the solution. You are making sure that the solution that we're offering hits the mark, you know, and it's all of that really. And that's how I look at myself in the role, is that conduit to make sure that all the ideas are put on the table and we can put something together.
And I think it works both ways as well, is when you put yourself in a position of somebody who is trusting, people feel like they want to reciprocate that and say, well, can you tell me this? Can you guide me on that? What are your thoughts on this? And like you say, it doesn't always work. I think it is a very specific grouping of individuals that can work in that way. And you can mold that and change that and use that differently. And that's almost where the March sisters provide the different models of that. You know, Jo is very intellectual. She's very outspoken. She's exceptional in the skill sets that she has. Meg is very much, she knows her mind. She knows what she wants. She's comfortable with fulfilling roles that people would maybe put in a
traditional role, the traditional sense of purpose. Yeah, exactly.
But that's what she wants, and she's not afraid of that. She doesn't feel like she needs to step outside of that for the sake of proving a point. And then you've got Beth, who is really a really supportive character. Like, she's everyone's cheerleader, and that moment when she dies and Jo goes through her chest and she finds she's collected all the trinkets over the years, and she provides the walls for everyone's voice to echo from. You know, that's what she's so great at. And then Amy's tenacious as hell. She doesn't suffer fools. She knows what she wants. She goes after it. She's very driven.
My youngest daughter.
But those are all very different skill sets that they could, you know, you can bring into different environments. And like you're saying, I think ultimately knowing who you are and knowing what voice you have and being comfortable enough to share that, and everything else be damned, right? If someone doesn't like you for who you are, then of course you don't want to antagonize people, but that's their problem. They've got to work through that. That's not your problem to change who you are to suit other people.
And that's really hard though. But when it comes to work and business, I find that you can still set boundaries. So that, I think, segueing into that, setting those boundaries for people to work with. We have people who are really tenacious and they really want to get to the end goal, and knowing that they've got the right people around them to say, I really admire this. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I don't want to stop this, but I think these are great. Like, I know that some people have got so many ideas on track. They've got so many different ideas. And then someone will say, yeah, but they come up with loads of ideas. They don't know how to implement those ideas. They've got great ideas, and it's somebody else who can come in and go, did that idea work? I'm not quite sure. Someone will come in and then challenge those ideas. And so when it comes to different people, we've got to find a way that works for different people, but we always have to be equal. We always have to have an equal footing on at the table.
I never know where these podcasts are going to go. I barely even know the subjects, so I've not had time to kind of preconceive anything. I'm just absorbing what you're saying. And I was thinking, this is kind of a moot point now, but a few minutes ago, that, and this doesn't maybe completely work, but I was thinking that your role and the work you do, I don't know, I was thinking of like an airport where you've got all these things trying to land at the same place and take off from the same place. You're setting different people off at different speeds in different directions and trying to provide a safe space for everyone to land back and land your ideas and bring yourself back to the central kind of place where we're all kind of you know, you said the ingredients of a cake kind of come together. And that's a bit of a thankless task because you're left waiting, I guess, while everyone else goes off in the different directions they're going to do the work they've got to do, and then hopefully come back with something that works and fits back together again.
No, I know, but I think it's just that I love working with different people and different ideas. You know, we've got some of our consultants and they're very driven and they know what the end goal should look like, but you still need some people to kind of challenge, but it's a safe space. I'm going to challenge you on this. It's a nice space. Don't worry. Anything that you say, I'm not going to go and go, he said this, and I think it's a terrible idea. You go, no, it's fine. Just bring all your ideas, and I'm more than happy to be challenged. Actually, I'm probably too happy to be challenged because I probably am never sure whether the ideas I've got to bring to the table are quite right. You know, so I'm always happy to be challenged because I'll do it back to people. I'll always check back with them. And, you know, I have a great rapport with a lot of our consultants. I'll tell you what I absolutely love is, you know, you're talking about different parts of the project management. I tell you what I love and I get so energized by is when I attend workshops and when I see our clients. God, I love that. Like I was with one of our clients, went up to London, and even our client turned around and she said, you really like this, don't you? I said, yeah, no, I do. I love it. I love watching what we've done and seeing that people are getting something out of it. Oh, God, I love it so much. Like I get proper and I think I skipped home. It also did help that it was Morgan delivering it. So, you know, and I absolutely love Morgan to pieces. I love everybody to pieces, but getting that time with her, which she never did because she lives up in Newcastle, so that's never going to happen. But yeah, I love seeing our clients and working with them because I miss that interaction. I'm quite a tactile person, so when I sit there and I see you guys, they talk to me, you know, and have a chat. I think as I'm at our Christmas party, I think we chatted for about 45 minutes, and I probably did the same as what I'm doing now, and I just chatting away. But like, yeah, that's what I want. I want everybody to come to me and talk to me. I want everyone to feel safe around me. So yeah.
You're the Mrs. March of the group.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Who is
Sometimes I
Mrs.
feel
March?
like
Is that Susan Sarandon?
she's Susan Sarandon.
Is it
Yeah,
Susan?
she's so
Oh yeah,
good.
you want to be Susan Sarandon, definitely. That's the one. Yeah, 100%.
So last year for my 40th, we went away to Spain. We'd rented out a couple of big villas. As a, you know, for my 40th, we were like, yeah, and we invited all my family. There was about 20 of us. My in-law said to me, like my brother-in-law, they go, basically, Becky, whenever we're in a room and there's a load of people that I don't want to talk to, if I know that you're there, I'm safe. Because you and your brother will go, da, 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 and you'll ask all the questions. We'll do it with everybody. We'll go in, we'll chat away, we'll go, no, how are you? What are you doing? Go, oh, yeah, talk to me. And I'll talk back. And then we'll natter away. And they go, Becky, that was half an hour. And my godparents are happy now because you've literally just talked to them. You have absolutely no need to talk to my godparents, but you have. You've given them the time. And I go, yeah, yeah, yeah. As my brother and I, we're the exact same. You literally see both of us, and you'll either go, am I in a chatty mood or not? Avoid us like the plague if you're not. Or if you're just in a listening mood, you could just listen to us all day. And you'd be fine. You'd be absolutely fine.
That's a skill though, right? Because Adam and I can, in different ways, can be quite what's the
Rude.
word? No, not rude. Introspective. So I think it's kind of introverted would be the correct terminology. And I only found this out about myself recently. So I was talking to somebody and I was kind of describing things. I was like, do you realise you're an introvert? There's no way I'm an introvert. I'll walk in a room, I'll say hello to anybody, I can have a conversation with a cab driver, I can have a conversation with someone between floors in an elevator. But they said, no, the idea of an introvert is this brings us back a little bit to Morgan's analogy of the spoons last week, is you have a certain amount of energy for social situations. And once that energy's been spent, the way you recharge that is by doing things on your own. So you need to take yourself off or you need to do whatever you need to do. But if once your energy's gone, you'll go into negative energy. So then it becomes that's hard work to be in those situations, and it'll take you longer to get back to a point of being ready again. And so what you've just described, Becky, is the introvert's ideal situation is I've got no energy. I'm going to come to you and you have a conversation at me while I build my energy back up again.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that can be, once again, when we're talking about individuality and people's places in a situation, it's wonderful that you know that you have a certain set of skills that can be so useful in a social situation like that, and that can be applied into a organization and things like that. Is we need someone to make people feel good about themselves. Becky's great for that. We need someone to feel good about themselves. Brad's having a bit of a low day. Don't send him in the room, because that's that's not a good person to send. So I think it's knowing those things about yourself is huge in terms of you can be quite self-deprecating unnecessarily, because actual fact you know a lot about yourself and the strengths that you have. So I think that's something worth noting, definitely, as an individual.
I think it's interesting you say that you're an introvert, because sometimes I always think, am I an introvert? Because sometimes all I do is, if I've had a long conversation with someone, I just want to lie down in a dark room and just be quiet and don't want to talk to me. Find I'm exhausted afterwards. But I know that sometimes it can be a mask, and I know how to do it. Do you know what I mean? I know how to do it. If you put me into a room where I've got a network with a load of strangers, oh God, I would hate it so much. Oh my God, I would hate that. I'm like, oh, I've got to talk about some common interests that we don't actually have much of a common interest about. Great. Okay. So tell me about, I don't want to talk to you about this. But if you talk about a film and we talk, then I will jump in. But like, I need to build that. I am self-deprecating. I always have been. And it also, for me, sometimes I want to make it a leveler, but I go too much down. So suddenly I'm beneath you, because I've basically poured my whole heart out to you and said, I'm crap at everything. So don't worry. You don't have to worry about a thing. You're going to be better than me. Don't worry. I've gone, I want us to be level to, oh no, I'm beneath you, and then no, I'll say to my, why does no one respect me? Well, basically, Becky, you opened yourself up, everything, warts and all, and said, come on, people, so how do you expect people to respect you when you just said, see how bad I am? Don't worry, you're fine. But it's a total, and I see where my daughter gets it from, an empathetic approach, because I'm seeing people, and if I think they're uncomfortable, I will want to help them. I want to go, you all right? You okay?
It's interesting because that's almost the definition of empowering voices to me. On the one hand, you joke that you could just talk, and you might. I just talk at you for a bit. So that doesn't sound like it's empowering the voice, but it kind of also is, because you're giving that person a safe space to kind of come in on their terms when they're ready with the things they want to share, and to take your lead about how open they can be or don't need to be or whatever.
Yeah.
I think just giving people time, just, making the effort to be the one, like no slant on anyone else, but yeah, probably at the Christmas party, and I'm somewhat of an outsider in the group. You're the first person to try and just give me a platform to speak and kind of have a voice and get involved. And it's just something that seems to come naturally to you, and it's a really kind of beautiful thing to have and to offer to other human beings, to give them that space to express themselves when they're ready, how they want to express themselves.
I hope so. Do you know what I was we were talking about Civil War. Do you know what I watched? I literally watched the whole series, was Baby Reindeer. Have you watched that yet?
No, not yet.
So it's about a comedian, and it talks about his real life experiences with a stalker, but he presents it in a comedy. And it's a very dark, funny place to go to. But it's there's a poignant moment in, I think, it always is, isn't it? In the penultimate episode. It was a real raw, and I think when you're talking about Civil War, it was a real raw, it's capturing raw moments. And that was a raw moment for him, and seeing his struggle. And I think, God, and that's why I think sometimes I don't want to judge people, because you can't see what's going on inside. But I'm far more interested in what other people have got to say about themselves, because I think they've got something more interesting to say than probably I have.
Yeah, but there you go with that self-deprecation again.
Yeah,
And I
but
think
it's true.
yeah,
But it's true, and it's annoying. It's annoying. Believe
yeah,
me,
but
it's
the
so
thing is
annoying.
that is I think one of the key parts of this is around safety, and
Yeah.
I know we kind of danced around this a few times, but I think it's trust. Trust builds safety, and if you can
Mm.
trust people, and to tie it back to the film, once again, we've talked about the Pickwick Society already, but there's that scene when Joe says, "Oh, I want to bring Laurie into the society," and they all say,
And
"No,
they're
no,
like,
because
no, no,
we're
no, it's
ourselves around,
ours.
we're ourselves in the
Yeah.
society, and if he comes, he'll see things and he'll judge us and he'll joke
Yeah.
about us and he'll tease us at a later
Yeah.
date." And she kind of springs it on them that he was already there, and he sort of. And he
Yeah,
sort
and
of
he's
says,
going,
I present myself. I'd love to
yeah.
humbly join you." And he says, as a gesture of goodwill, he gets the little miniature version of the house, the bird box thing that they leave
Yes.
between the houses, and they can exchange gifts and notes and
Yes.
letters and things.
Yeah.
And I think what a wonderful example of, as somebody coming into an environment, you have to be respectful of the confines of that environment. You can't
Yeah.
come in and go, right, this is me. I've got some ideas about how we can change this and do this differently. You're entering someone else's safe space. And I
Yeah.
think when it comes to empowering voices, you're doing that. You're by going,
Mm.
"Oh, don't worry about me. I'm this, I'm that," and trying to lower yourselves and paint a lesser
Yeah.
picture of yourself. But actually, the opposite is probably what's needed. Is you're safe with me. You can trust me. I'm
Yeah.
capable.
Yeah.
You can make the errors, and I'm not going to judge you. Because in actual fact, that's what I want. I want you warts and all, and I want to see the bad, the bad ideas. I want to see the good ideas. I want to see your ideas that don't work out. I want to see you on your best days and your worst days, because I want to get to know all of you, the whole part of you, so I can best be of service to you, and you can best help me, and all those different things.
Mm.
So in actual fact, you're probably you are doing yourself a massive disservice. And I think anybody who does approach things in that way, where they feel they need to, like you mentioned it, bring yourself down, make yourself seem lesser, that's actually, in my opinion, not the right thing to do at all,
No.
because you're diminishing people's ability to trust you. What you should come in is going, "This is who I am." Like you say, you talk, I'll listen. Let me see what we can do together. And
easy to say that, Brad, though, but we've all,
it is totally.
Right, it's our natures, right? We all have a nature, whether that's nature or nurture. There's an aspect to us that we can't control, and how we behave isn't. We can be conscious of it. Actually, can totally be conscious of something we'd like to do different, but it just doesn't come to us.
But that has resonated with me, Brad, actually, because I do feel, and Adam, that by recognizing I don't have to be less. There's a reason I'm here. You've trusted me to do this. I've got to prove to you that you trust me, and this is what I bring to the table, knowing, and I can balance that and say, you know what, I'm crap at the ideas, guys, rubbish at it, but I know you guys are wonderful at it. Do you know what I will do? I will challenge that idea, and I will look at it and see whether that idea is going to turn into something, is going to blossom. But no, I think knowing what I bring to the table is so important. Be you, be your genuine self. The more people are just themselves, and rather than trying to be something that they're not, the more I can go, ha ha, I get you. I've obviously do that. I allow people to have that trust, but be human. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about all the buzzwords. Just be nice and be human and be kind. However, I didn't realise, Adam, you like Taskmaster and you're more about TV programmes. Have you been watching the most recent Taskmaster?
I haven't. How did you know that I like Taskmaster?
Brad, because I talked to him and said, because I hear that Adam doesn't really like film. Because no, he's more into his TV program. I went, oh, Taskmaster. He loves Taskmaster. That's what we have as a family. We love Taskmaster. Absolutely love Taskmaster. I love the girl. I can't remember. She's been in something, the Northern Lass that's in Taskmaster at the moment, and she cracks me up all the time. I can't remember what she's been in, but she's brilliant.
They've got every year with Taskmaster. I know, Brad, this is totally outside your comfort zone because you can't stand it. But every year,
oh my God, you can't stand it, Brad. How? What?
It's disgraceful. Every year, I'm always amazed that they manage to put a lineup together that is surprising to me, and it's always got one or two faces I've seen and a couple I've never seen before. But there's a real kind of balance to those groups, how they get those 5 people together. And I've never been disappointed. I've never ever watched a series and been disappointed by the people.
One of my favourite series is the one with Joe Brand.
Yeah.
That has got to be the most funniest series. And it's just so silly. I just love how silly it is. At home, like Neil will watch The Office, but we like the US Office. We actually really like the US Office.
Now you're back more in Brad's company.
And now we're in a bone of contention here because some people don't like the US Office and they prefer the original. But I have to say, I prefer the US
Becky,
Office.
you're somehow managing to straddle both of our worlds, like Taskmaster with Adam and Office with me, and they either can't stand the opposite. So, like,
I know,
that's really weird.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by this because I think people who don't like the US Office haven't given it a chance because the first pilot one wasn't that great.
Before you answer that question, have you noticed what Becky's done here? Like, have you noticed what she's done?
What she's empowered my voice and let me.
The empowering of your voice, because you've sat there squirming the whole episode, knowing nothing about this particular film, feeling super uncomfortable.
Yeah, she's found a way.
She's empowered your voice. Anyway, sorry, go for it.
I'm just American comedy just doesn't work for me. I don't find Friends funny. I don't find The Office funny. I don't find Frasier or any of the stuff that Brad loves. I just don't get it. I'm just much more British in my kind of comedic sensibilities. But likewise, Brad loves Steve Martin and kind of all the kind of stand-up comedians. I'm much more Ross Noble, British guy, or Mark Watson or whatever. Yep, I'm much more of a stand-up comedy person or comedy generally than I am films, to be honest. For every time Brad goes to the cinema, I'd rather go and see a stand-up comedian somewhere.
Who do you want to go and see? Who do you want to go and see next?
I've got so much booked. It's unreal. I go to Soho Theatre in London, which is my favourite place to see comedy because it's small, it's tiny. And if you get, you always get comedians there who are working out new material, which is my favourite way to see it. I'm not interested in stadium tours. I saw Ricky Gervais a couple of weeks ago to 100 people trying stuff that he's potentially going to make it into his next show, and some of it won't. Every night of the week I'd go out to stand up if I could.
I love, and so this is, and I think Brad gets a bit peeved off with me when I say this, but I always love Chatterbix. I don't think you probably ever listened to Chatterbix.
Adam, this is the greatest compliment ever.
No, it's not.
It is, right? So the other day I was talking do you mind if I tell this? Do you mind if I tell this story?
Oh, don't.
Right, okay. So the other day the other day I was talking to Becky and she said, you and Adam remind me of that Chatterbix podcast. Okay. Now Chatterbix, Adam, in case you're not aware, is Joe Wilkinson and David Earl. David Earl of Brian and Charles fame.
That is a mic drop right there. Greatest compliment of my life. Thank you so much.
Go away. Don't. No, it's not. Is it really?
No, that's a great... You're joking me. That is the best thing anyone could say about the two of us. That is amazing.
Yes, yeah. So have you seen the short or just the movie?
The movie.
So if you watch the short is even better. So watch
the
short.
Amazing.
The short came first, and it is so good. Brian, it's so good. Me and Adam must have seen it about 100 times between us. But anyway, that being said, I do want to say thank you so much, Becky, for your wonderful energy and your insights, and for giving us this great topic and this beautiful film. It's been a real pleasure having you on the podcast.
Oh, thank you guys. Always a pleasure, never a chore.
Thanks, Bex. So the one major thing we didn't do that we're getting a bit slack on is our score, our rating out of 5. And I deliberately let Becky go because we've not asked any of our guests, and I don't want to have favourites. We shouldn't ask Becky for her score, and we didn't ask who was with last week. Morgan. We didn't ask Laura. Jackie
I think Laura gave the film 4 out of 5 or 5.
Did she? I don't remember. Okay.
That. Yeah.
Well, regardless.
Okay.
Well, how are you rating Little Women? Give me your summary.
Why don't you rate Little Women? Why don't you tell me what you think of the Greta Gerwig version?
I couldn't remember that, to be honest. I was trying to ask myself why I've even seen it.
Labyrinth was 3.5 stars, and there was a whole spiel around that. Little Women, I'm going to give that.
It's got to be a 2 something in it, 2.5 or.
I want to give it 4 because it is a lovely film, but it's like it is cheesy, but in all the right ways.
Bit hallmarky,
but in all the right ways. And obviously the actual stories is amazing, and the acting's lovely in it, and it does really hit you in the feels a lot. So you know what, screw it, let's go with a 4. I'm going to give Little Women 1994 version 4 stars out of 5.
Beautiful. I'll get it added to the league table, and we'll get that
Thanks.
updated in the show notes for next time.
And you'll let me know what you think of Civil War.
Yeah.
I got told we didn't have a cliffhanger last week, so this is our cliffhanger this week.
Is that what we're doing? Will I go and watch
Civil War?
I mean, I can tell you the answer to the cliffhanger right now. It's not going to happen. Certainly not for the next episode.
You've got like 3 weeks. You've got like 3 weeks.
I keep seeing it on TV, little adverts, and there's aspects of it that are definitely catching my attention. Do you know what I'm more likely to watch is the recommendation that we just got from Bex.
Was this the reindeer one?
Yes, Baby Reindeer. I immediately started Googling it while she was talking about it, and thought there's just some aspects there that, I don't know, I need to dig deeper, but I'm more likely to watch that than Civil War, to be honest.
Yeah.
Who is our next guest, by the way? Can we announce that, or is that confidential?
So we've got Andy McKay next week. So Andy is our digital learning developer, and he's going to come on, and I don't know what film he's going to talk about yet, but I do know that he does like wrestling, so we might just hijack the conversation, Adam, and go down that route.
We could talk about The Wrestler, or
we could.
Peanut Butter Falcon. Was it Peanut Butter Falcon?
Peanut Butter Falcon, yeah. The Iron Claw. We could do one of those movies, definitely. Yeah, or maybe we could just use films with wrestlers in. We'll see.
How exciting. That's the cliffhanger for next time then. What wrestling film will it be, and will Adam have seen it? It's double header. You can't ask for more than that. 2 cliffhangers in one episode. You're welcome.
Right.
Till next time.